Hello everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well. Hope you've had a lovely few days. I've not done a voiceover for quite a few days now, so I get a bit behind on what I've told you and what I haven't. So I'll just have to talk to you about yesterday, today and what's happening in the next few days. So you're going to see the next day I open today, what's behind the door, my recommendation for what you can do on our 24 days of decluttering and getting a tidier Christmas. So look out for that within this video. So massive thank you for those of you that have recently followed me. It's lovely to see all your names pop up. So a number of different people from, again, further across the world. Can you believe that India is now in the top 10? I was quite shocked about that. So I love knowing where you're all from. So if you haven't already shared with me the nearest city or county or state that you're within, please do let me know. And it's really nice for other people to see who they're near to. So massive thank you for those of you that have recently started following me. But for those of you that have been here for the last few weeks, the last few months, or even the last year, then thank you so much for your ongoing support and kindness. So as I record this, it's towards the end of the week. And it's funny because in many ways a week feels like it's gone on forever. And other ways I think, oh, it's Friday. I think it's because I woke up on Wednesday. It's nearly Friday. I woke up on Wednesday thinking, oh, I'm tired, my daughter's tired, my husband's tired. But it's okay because tomorrow we've got a lie-in. It's Saturday. And then I realised that it was actually Wednesday. So my day 3, so this is for the 3rd of December, the task for the day. Now this task is to put something away, either in the house or garden, that needs to be put away that you have not done. So that might just be something that's just been sitting there. Maybe you've got to go up in the loft, maybe you've got to go into, a cupboard or the shed. For me, it's the Sylvanian family toys. So they're the toys that my daughter wants to keep. She definitely wants to keep hold of them. And they've been sitting in the playroom. And as you know, I've taken them out of the playroom. They've been sitting in the way. And I decided that, right, day 3, I'm going to put them all away. You'll see me emptying the box out. And the reason I do that is I suddenly thought, there might be some Lego pieces. So I tipped out all of the pieces. There were not any Lego pieces, but it was a good job I checked, because who knows what might have been at the bottom of the box. So I had a little check, then I put everything back in the box, and then in my normal Jenga style, I squashed things into the cupboard. And then I started thinking about getting some Christmas things out. So I do still feel like I'm making quite a lot of progress in the home. My husband's had his birthday. He was very, very lucky with birthday presents. He's got some more Warhammer items, which did make me think that in our old bedroom, the spare bedroom, the one that I very rarely venture in, we've got a chest of drawers each. And the bottom drawer, the chest of drawers, is full of Warhammer boxes. Absolutely full. And what I'd really like to do is I'd like to have chest of drawers that are just for clothes. So at some point we need to have a think about that and think about what we could potentially get rid of. So I squashed these in and I thought, at some point I'm going to get all the toys out again, and I'm just going to get the toys that my daughter wants to keep and see whether there's any other things that we can get rid of. But that's the job for the 3rd of December. Now, for those of you that are minimalists, and for those of you that don't have anything out of place, you're not going to be able to do this challenge. But for those of you that are a bit like me, I'm sure there'll be something. And I don't mean just, you not put the sellotape in the drawer. You can't really count that one. But something big that needs to be put away. Maybe something that needs to go into the shed. So that's the task. So you can see, I've got a question for you all, because for 2 years in a row, I've done the same thing. I put the bag at the front of the cupboard for the charity. I've opened the cupboard. I've got loads of Christmas bags out. The charity bag's not there. So whether I put the charity bag away and then put other bags in front of it, I don't know, but it's very odd. I was certain that I had put it right at the front of the cupboard. But you can see I've taken those bags out. I've taken the big snowman out. And it's not there. Strange. So you can see in the kitchen is looking a bit cluttered because I've got this old wine. Now, I would like your views on this. I was going to give this away to family members and I was going to say to them, look, if it's not, if you taste it and it's awful, just pour it away. But then my mum took a couple of bottles and then she messaged me and said, if you've got things that are out of date, just sling them. So I don't know whether I'm going to actually give them to anybody. My sister said if they're out of date, don't want them. I thought alcohol was okay for a period of time, but maybe not. And you could also see, did you see on the side where I had things stacked up for my husband's birthday? So there was various different cakes and so on. Now you'll also see in this video that I'm making a cake. So I did a 3-tier chocolate sponge with a chocolate fudge sort of cream in the middle and on the top. And then we had fondant fancies and twirls to decorate it. And he said that tasted very, very nice. Now, in other news, the house is freezing cold. And the last 2 nights I've woken up throughout the night. Literally, I can't get warm enough. Last night we had 3 hot water bottles in the bed. And my husband has set up a fleece, like to wrap. So I've got a fleece on me, a quilt on me, and a bed cover over the top. But I think I'm going to have to wear like extra layers in bed. We've had the fire roaring, and the last 2 days we've been using coal. My husband bought a bag of coal for £15, and we're going to see how long it lasts. So can you see in the kitchen, you might spot that I put a ring on in order to warm the kitchen up. When I was working from home, it was so cold, I thought this is ridiculous. Now, somebody said to me, you could just pay your big electricity and gas bill and just put your heating on and just not go on a holiday. I'm not planning on doing that. So the administrative error was the fault of EDF. They have agreed that I'm going to be paying £200 a month. At the moment, we're using about £120 for gas and electricity. What I'm hoping to do this weekend is clean all the radiators and concentrating on the ones upstairs because of my daughter's and husband's dust allergy. So I'm going to get one of those kind of like brushes that goes all within the radiators, and that will mean when the central heating does come on, it's not going to create lots and lots of dust in the air. So this week's been a bit of a funny one. I really need to do some more work on my second job, but my first job has kind of gone a bit crazy. And I was thinking about it and thinking really what I think my preference would probably be is to increase my hours on my first job and leave my second job. I don't know. Who knows? I often have these discussions, don't I? I got a couple of emails on my second job that didn't really impress me that much. In the United Kingdom, we have a system that is data barring system, I think is called. So if you work like with adults, vulnerable adults or children, you have to have a DBS check once a year. That shows that you've got like no issues on your file, like criminal file. So because a lot of people now don't work in one particular location, first of all, this lady emailed me asking for 3 forms of identity to be emailed to her. So I've got no idea who this person is. That was going to be emailed to a shared mailbox. I've got no idea who's going to see my documents, where they're going to be stored, what they're going to do with them, whether they're going to delete them after 28 days or whether they're going to keep them on file for forever. And then, like a day later, they asked me to complete this survey, and I clicked on the survey, and this is all this data they're asking about me. They're going to keep on a SharePoint site. Again, I've got no idea who can access this information. And they're asking me my full name, my date of birth, my sex, whether I've got any disabilities, my national insurance number, my passport number. Literally, the list goes on, all my qualifications, so much information. Again, with no information or explanation as to where this data is going to be stored and how they're using it. Now, I was in the wrong because I didn't reply to the email. I thought, I need to ask my manager about that, but I didn't. So I got this email from a senior manager, which instructed us all to complete it that day. And then it put at the bottom, I would also request that you send me an email explaining why you still haven't completed this 2 weeks after the deadline. I thought, people have got different sort of ways to speak to people and get things done. And the fact of it is, really, with that job, I do sort of say what I think, because it's not my priority job, and I don't really mind so much if they don't like what I reply with. So I replied and said, in response to your question, please, can you explain why you haven't responded to this important request even 2 weeks after the deadline? I'm sorry that I didn't reply. When I clicked on the link and looked at the survey, I should have messaged straight away. And then I just went on to explain how I was very concerned about how my personal data is being held, how it's being used, where it's being saved, where it's being stored, who's got access to it. And I said at the same time, I was asked to send 3 forms of ID by email to someone I don't know. It's funny, isn't it? I think some people just are perhaps very trusting. And of course, all these people dealing with this personal data, they're checked and they're vetted. But we know that actually a lot of crimes happen from inside, or, fraud is from inside an organisation. Only takes a dissatisfied employee to think, what could I do with this information? I think we should all be wary about our data. So it's coming up, this big meeting at work. It's supposed to be face-to-face meeting, but the other person says they've got a cold, which if they have got a cold, I don't particularly want it. But it was supposed to be face-to-face to go through things, but we'll see about that. And there's some discussion about mediation. Like I said in one of my videos before, I think the mediation system sounds very good. The union said that it's not like you sit in the room with a person and you say, how are you feeling, Emma? How are you feeling to the other person? Literally, the mediator approaches one person and they take the information from the one person in a one-to-one, then have a separate meeting with the other person and have a discussion. But it's funny how things have moved on now and the other person seems absolutely fine. It's just really the way that I've been, things have been towards me, I find, quite horrendous. But I really love the person who wrote on my channel. They wrote on my channel, daily I read that people are accused of things that's found they're not guilty, and millions that have to be spent, or thousands of pounds have to be spent to prove the point. And I thought, that is so true. And I've taken a lot of this very, very personally because it is hurtful, but I shouldn't have taken it so personally. But it's so difficult not to. I spoke to someone else and they said, the same thing happened to me. I really supported this person, I did a lot for this person, and then when things weren't going right in this person's life and they weren't enjoying their job, they made up all these things about their manager. And so this person has gone through exactly the similar sort of thing, really, to me. So in a minute, I'm going to do a little clip of real time where I'm making my husband's cake. It doesn't last so very long, but I just talk a little bit to the camera. I really do need to find my microphone and my safe place as to where I've put my microphone. Now, my husband will probably be able to help me over the weekend. He's really super at finding things. But that will just mean that it'll be easier for you to listen to me because I know it's not that loud. And I am sorry about that. So, I just thought I'd give you a little tiny snippet of what I'm making. So I'm doing the Good Food chocolate cake, easy chocolate cake. Very similar, I've done this recipe, similar sort of thing, very sort of similar. Done it many times. Don't think I've followed Good Food before, but the bit I always forget, step 2, in a large bowl, beat the caster sugar, the butter, the large eggs, the self-raising flour and 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder, basically all of the ingredients in one bowl. That's the method. Now, I've got, look, all this butter. Thankfully, it's not been in the fridge. It's, what time is it? It's 9:30 at night. We've been to Guides tonight, and my husband went in. Oh God, where is it? Is it in the fridge? I can't get it. But some of you know that my husband is a quarter Northern Irish. So not Irish, he's from Northern Ireland. And for those of you that have got links to Northern Ireland, or you live in Northern Ireland, will know that a dessert called 15s is very popular there. So I said to my husband, I personally have never made 15s. He's made 15s many times. We do a version which is free from. So it's free from dairy, free from wheat, tastes absolutely delicious. And he came in and went through all with the girls. And he did such a fantastic job. We had, how many did we have? 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 20, 23 girls tonight. And I think they probably listened to him better than what they listened to us. I did say we've got a guest coming. And afterwards I reflected, because it was, I thought, in the days where there used to be like so many stereotypes of how like, well, men didn't do any cooking and women did the cooking. And I thought, really, how amazing is that? My daughter's dad has gone into Girl Guides and taught them all how to make it. So I've taken it home, and they've got put it in the fridge overnight, and then they can get it out of the fridge tomorrow. I suggested that they had it for a treat at lunchtime, but of course one of the girls said, I'm going to eat it for breakfast. So, and then I'm going to make like a fudge, I'm going to make a fudge, chocolate fudge cream sort of for the middle. So I've got, so we've got, so there's 3 of us. Then my sister, my brother-in-law and my 2 nephews, so that's 7. My mum and her partner, that's 9. My dad and his partner, that's 11. My brother-in-law's mum, that's 12. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law, father-in-law and sister-in-law can't come, but my mother and father-in-law have been ill with this head cold. I did also say that wrap up warm because there's no heating, and afterwards my husband said you shouldn't have said that because that will mean they won't come. But I just think with the, now my husband bought some coal today, so with the coal, and we'll have the fire on all day. The house is getting warmer. So I'm getting there. Can you see that? It's going to take a while. Oh bother, have I? Oh bother, what's the? I can't remember the number. Oh no. Oh, I've got a problem. Oh, I don't know the password. My husband gave me that phone to do the recipe because I wanted to record with my phone. I'm going to have to stop the video. Because I can't remember what the password is. Honestly, my password is like 4 digits. My husband is like 12. Yeah, so if you look up 15s, it's a really nice dessert to make. And if you have got different food needs, so if you're like gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, it's very easy to ensure that it's suitable for everybody. Or people with different dietary needs. Oh, my arm is already hurting. So I make 1 cake a year. Well, we do our daughter's cake together. Although this year she had 15s. She had a massive, great 15 cake. Because every single year we literally spent hours. I'd bake the cake, and then my husband would do all the decoration. It would take hours, and we all ate it, and my daughter wasn't really very keen. I don't really like cake. So I kind of thought, well, that's what everyone does, isn't it? They all, the normal thing is, a birthday is that everybody has birthday cake, but actually if you doesn't like cake, what's the point of doing it? But she does love 15s. Just realised I've got my uniform on. That's what that is. My guide uniform on. So this morning I woke up and I felt so tired and cold, and I thought, that's okay. I bet my daughter's tired, I'm tired. But tomorrow is Saturday, and then I realised, no, today is Wednesday. And I'm going into work for that big meeting on Friday. So we'll see what happens there. So I'm sort of like getting there with this. I think I should put the eggs in. Right, here are the eggs. Now I do think you could get cheaper ingredients for a cake, but I do maintain, and I do shop around with a lot of ingredients, but I do maintain that with a cake that you should go for the best that you can afford. That's what I think. So the better the quality ingredients, the better the cake, in my humble opinion. And after we had chickens, we'll never ever, well actually before we only bought free range, but I won't buy battery. I mean, the welfare standards are better now, but I don't know what they're like in other parts of the world, but I will not buy eggs from chickens that have been cooped up in tiny, tiny little spaces and had a horrendous life. I think it was 4. Was it 6? I have to stop my video recorder now. Whoops. What have I just put in there? 3. I think this is going to make it easier to mix in. Yes. I need to make sure I don't end up with lumps though. Some people coming around don't actually like chocolate cake, but I'm making this for my husband. Oh, you know I told you about the fondant fancies? I bought some fondant fancies. They're like Kipling's cakes. I'm going to put them on the top. He likes fondant fancies, so quite an unusual taste. Do you have fondant fancies in other countries? I wonder whether you can get them in, like, do you have a British aisle section? Right, I'm going to take it off now because I need to check the ingredients and the method.
You alright? How's it going?
Problem is, your phone switched off.
Oh, you don't know my code?
No. Right, so what was the code again? Hopefully you could catch some of what I said, and found that interesting what I was saying about my husband coming into Girl Guides and making 15s. My daughter brought hers home, put them in the fridge, and they came out really well. So hopefully all the girls cut them into slices and ate them earlier today. So I'm going to go through a few of your comments now. So thank you so much for adding comments on my channel. I love reading through the comments. I love hearing about your suggestions and ideas. Really, really lovely to hear about what you're up to and just your thoughts, really. So the first comment is from Suzette Davis. And Suzette adds a lovely comment. Thank you very much, Suzette. She says, even though you had low motivation, you still managed to tidy up. As you continue to declutter, it will take less and less time to tidy up. Yes, very true. I'm already noticing an improvement in the kitchen because it's easier to put things away as well. I can relate to being upset and not wanting to go to work anymore after false allegations have been made. Absolutely. It's really, really awful. And I can really see why the person has said various things, and I'm only thankful it's not all to do with me. It's basically a complaint about lots of different things within the service area. Apparently pages and pages of different things that the person was dissatisfied about. But I can reflect to a whole load of situations that led up to this point, both in the person's personal life, at work. There was that other team member who was extremely capable and really, really good. I think that made things difficult. So it's a complicated situation, but as I just said earlier, I don't ever understand someone trying to kind of, I don't know, like literally blatantly lie. I can't get my head around that. Angela Wag says, thank you, Emma. Glad you're pushing on and navigating the work situation. Regarding the pots, store them upside down, cover them if you can to protect against the elements. Shiratam, I think I get that right. Hi Emma, yay ads. Wow, the loft room is looking really good. See progress, we love progress. The burnout and I don't want to are real. Pick a small task. When you begin, that's when you'll see small acts lead to big change. Do what works for you and your family. I hope you're feeling proud of yourself. Room resets are quicker now. we can see the change, and I hope you notice. Thank you, Shiratam. What I just need to focus on is maintenance. Sometimes I get it, so like for instance, you can see in the video, I get the part of the loft room how I want it, but it doesn't stay like that, because then I have more washing come up and put away. As you all know, the washing then sits around. It's funny because I've had a few things that like, you know, a pair of socks which had a bit of a hole in, and in the past, I'll wash the pair of socks. So say I wore it and it's got a hole in, I wash it, dry it, and then put it in the bin or send it for rags. But a couple of times I've just slung it on the fire. Oh. Cynthia Miller says, hello Emma, you're really making progress upstairs. I can see it. I have a new idea. If you want hubby to sort out the leads, put the basket on his side of the bed.
I don't know if you can really hear
Yes,
me
when you
very
bring
well,
home a
but
box
no.
or a bag of flour, put it in the freezer to keep bugs out. I learnt this many years ago. But Cynthia, do you have to break it into small packages? What I don't understand is if I put a whole bag of flour in the freezer, surely when I need said bag of flour, I'm going to have to defrost the whole thing. That's what I'm not sure about. As the song goes, all I want for Christmas is Lego out of your lounge. Oh, you make me laugh. And as for the leads and my husband, no. Alas, Cynthia, I'm afraid that would not work. Love the suggestion, but that would not work. I think if my husband was asked about leads in the loft, he would not be aware. He would not be aware that there's a big pile of maybe 30 leads in the loft. Margaret Aborowski, I think that's how you say it. Margaret says, this is my first time watching one of your videos. Thank you for commenting. And whereabouts are you from, Margaret? Kathleen Quinn says, great video, Emma. And Lamb Sauce says, we do the flour in the freezer in Australia too. Isn't it funny that I've never heard about it? I do need to do a bit of a request though. For anybody that's watching my channel from Northern Ireland, I searched long and hard to do a challenge for Girl Guides on Northern Ireland. So I think I told you before that my husband is a quarter Northern Ireland, and I looked for different challenges, couldn't find a challenge, so I'm creating my own. So part of the challenge is making the 15s, but I need a couple of other things. And I looked online and all the other suggestions are all for islands, not Northern Islands. So there's a couple of other like meals I could do, but I didn't want to do something else food related. I wanted to like make something, or I think I'm going to have to resort to a word search. I'm not quite sure what else I could do. I'll have to have a think. So if anybody's watching my channel from Northern Ireland or have visited Northern Ireland many times, any suggestions are very, very welcome. And towards the end of the video, you'll also see what I'm starting to be able to do because I've, got on top of some things. I'm able to then spend time. I literally cleaned part of the doors in the kitchen. This is not a job that I would do very often. But I've got some wipes left over from the project in Great Yarmouth. So I got them out and cleaned along all my doors have got quite a kind of bits edging, which was, common in the late 1920s, 1930s. So I went along all the little edges and cleaned them. That would never be a job that I would have time for in the past, but these extra little jobs I'm having more and more time to do. So I'm getting towards the end of my video now, so I did want to just share with you a little bit of information on some of the stats for those of you that are interested. I've added that right towards the end, so if you're interested in that, you can look at that. If you're not interested, then you can click off and look at something else. And you can see me in the lounge, very busy at the moment with the fire. So literally we're having a fire every single day. And I think probably, like I said earlier, we've got the coal, but I think in a couple of days we're going to have to put the heating on. It is really, really bitterly cold. Really cold. We've got like a little oil heater that you can plug in. I just say to my husband, we could just put that in the hall because that would probably just overall make the house a little bit warmer. But he wasn't keen on that. So a couple more days of open fire, and then we're going to have to put the heating on, I think. So in terms of stats, I've added some information to share with you where people are from, the ages that people are watching, which I think is quite interesting. The bulk of people that follow my channel are women, and it's just interesting to see the demographics, really. So the first one shows that United Kingdom's still in the top spot. So most of my followers are from the United Kingdom with 35%. And then America is 21%. Then Germany. Then after Germany, we've got the next spot is Canada. And then Australia. And then it goes down to right small percentages. So 1.5% Spain, 1.1% France. And then less than 1% is Ireland, the Netherlands and India. I just love the fact. Who's from India? Remind me who's from India. 0.4% of my viewers are watching from India. I'm guessing, though, that works out to be maybe one person. I need to get my calculator. And then most of my followers are women, 93%, sometimes a little bit less, but usually the bulk are women. And then ages, I think, is really interesting. So kind of it's quite good. I don't have anyone watching my channel from ages 13 to 17, but I've got a couple of people ages 18 to 24, and then 25 to 34, 7%, 35 to 44, 17%, and then the biggest percentage is 30% of people that are aged 45 to 54, then 26% of people are 55 to 64, and then 18% are over 65. Wonder why they do such a broad category over 65. Really, it should be 65 to 74. Then it should be 75 to 84. And then it should be 85 to 94. That's what they should do. And then over 94. That's what they should do. So thank you very much to all of you that support my channel. Thank you very much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.